without, crossing that line. That's an insult that you don't give, And so my theory is that he is suffering some sort of mental breakdown, and that is why he is getting a mandatory 30-day vacation from WWE. However, when they announced it, if you look at the calendar then, as we were trying to figure out this brand split and, when the pay-per-view is and all that stuff, his suspension will actually end just a few days before the Battleground pay-per-view. So technically they could still go ahead with the triple threat match at Battleground. That being said, maybe it was something they did just to get out of having the triple threat match at Battleground and pushing it on to the SummerSlam. Maybe it is writing. But the fact that in their news release they specified his real name and then in parentheses Roman Reigns him, which they do not do very often ever with their stars, let alone their biggest new up-and-comer who's never had a break with kayfabe like that at any point in time in this point. It makes me think that it's real, but I don't know. It will be interesting to see if they announce some sort of change to the main event. I'm hoping that they do. I'm hoping that they change it so that the main event of Battleground is Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, and I'm hoping that it ends in controversy so that at SummerSlam the main event is the triple threat match between the Shield Boys for the title, and I don't even care what the result is. I want that match, and I want it at the proper place and time, and we can't push it off until WrestleMania. It's not going to work. But yeah, so like I said, the WWE's just been turned completely upside down. Nobody really knows what's going on, which is actually kind of great. We've got a bunch of hot, over, fresh stars. We've got a bunch of really quality veterans in Cena and even Bray Wyatt now and stuff that have returned to action. Randy Orton will be back shortly, I'm sure, as well. Just another example. And then a bunch of NXT call-ups that they haven't even taken advantage of yet, like Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. I mean, it is a really good, exciting time to be in the WWE, be a part of the WWE universe, which is good because it had been on a downswing for the last year or two. Since really since the height of the Yes movement, it had really kind of been on a downswing, and now it's working its way back up, and it just it's great to have reasons of intrigue, whether it be storyline, whether it be real life performer based, whether it be in-ring performances, whatever, whether it be restructure, just giving us fresh new things that we're curious about. Curiosity is the born 3 minutes later twin brother of excitement. Okay, so curiosity is fantastic for business, and the WWE is doing a great job right now of creating tons and tons of that, and I'm just looking forward to see it all play out. I'm sure I'll think some of it's great. I'm sure I'll think some of it's crap. But either way, I'll always be a fan, and that's just how I am. But anyway, enough of the pro wrestling talk. We got to get to a super quick, balls deep thought of the day. So, real short and sweet this week. Let's go there. Let's be cliche. All right. We talked about LeBron James' greatness at the beginning of the show for much of the first half of the show. Everybody else has been talking about it. Let's just do it. Let's be cliche. All right. Balls deep thought of the day for this week is we'll break it down into two parts. Okay. A, where does LeBron James rank now, as of now, with his most recent accomplishment? Where does LeBron James rank now on the list of all-time greatest NBA players? So we're measuring greatness, okay? How we're looking at accomplishments and how impressive those accomplishments were. It could be level of competition, could be level of dominance, could be unparalleled skill set, whatever. But those are our factors here, okay? And while we're not going to order them out because we're trying to make it nice and quick, The second way I want us to look at this is LeBron James now at least on the basketball Mount Rushmore? Okay, so when we're putting our top, Mount Rushmore is a top 4, period, okay? JFK ain't on it. One of the Roosevelts ain't on it. Eisenhower ain't on it. Wilson ain't on it. There's tons of really good presidents that aren't on Mount Rushmore, and they're not going to add a 5th for anybody, okay? It's top 4, and it's staying who it is. So, obviously, Michael Jordan is unquestionable on that Mount Rushmore. To me, all 3 of the other spots are completely up for debate, and I totally see all the points on all sides of them. But for me, personally, the second face on the Mount Rushmore of basketball has to be Bill Russell, the guy with the most rings, Hall of Fame player, coach, one freaking franchise, owned like 2 decades of the NBA, basically. While there were more individually talented players than him, sure, while he was always on a great team with other great players like Kusi and Havlicek, sure, his level of accomplishment and body of work is just so staggering. You know, it's absolutely unbelievable. And if he would have done it playing the way that Wilt Chamberlain did, then people wouldn't even say Michael Jordan was the greatest. People would say Wilt Chamberlain was the greatest basketball player of all time. Had Wilt had the team success that Bill Russell did. But he didn't. Bill Russell had a similar level of individual success. Not the same. Nobody did, really. I mean, you're talking about a guy who averaged over 50 points a game for an entire season in Wilt Chamberlain. But just, what do you win? Like 2 championships? One with the Sixers, one with the Lakers? That's it? Something like that? You know? As the most dominant player in NBA history? Is people still think of him and refer to him? It's like, you know, so the number 2 guy for me is Bill Russell. Okay, and I like to have a representative for this kind of the eras, you know, to an extent. So, like, I mean, so for this next one, for 3 and 4, we need a modern guy. We got to take a Kobe Bryant or a Tim Duncan or a LeBron James. Like, one of those guys has to represent the post-Jordan era on Mount Rushmore. And then whoever else you want to throw in there. Like, I mean, the other one's tough. I mean, you could go George Mikan even, you know, would be fun. But you could go, you know, I mean, you're obvious, like your Wilt Chamberlains, your Kareem Abdul-Jabbars, your Magics, and your Birds. Some people would say Dr. J. I wouldn't. I would say Oscar Robertson should very, very much be considered for that 4th and final spot. But the 3rd or 4th spot has to go to Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, or LeBron James. And in all honesty, I think LeBron James' greatness supersedes that of Kobe's and that of Tim Duncan's. What he means to his team as just his one person, the impact he has, the ways that he affects the game, and then now the success that he has had. I think LeBron James is either the 3rd or 4th face on the Mount Rushmore of basketball. That's right, of NBA basketball. Okay, so we're not talking like Wooden or Walton or Naismith or, you know, NBA basketball. Okay, so there we can kind of weed out Dr. J a little bit too. But the Mount Rushmore of NBA basketball, yes, LeBron James has earned, cemented even, if you want to, bad pun, his place on the Mount Rushmore of NBA basketball, as far as I'm concerned. And if you think differently, you're probably wrong. But as long as you have a different set of criteria, you know, than the criteria. If you're using my criteria, then you're wrong. If LeBron James isn't in it. But if you have different criteria that value and prioritize things differently than how I do, then I guess I could still see LeBron James being off the list, maybe in favor of like a Kareem or a Wilt or a Magic, something like that. I definitely don't see how anybody could put Bird above LeBron in the all-time greatness rankings at this point. You're a moron if you're doing that. Absolutely, they play the same position. We can put one ahead of the other, and LeBron James is the best small forward of all time, not Larry Bird. So you could look at it position wise too. You could try to take four guys at different positions, something like that too. But LeBron James, in my opinion, he's got a spot in the NBA Mount Rushmore. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you're a LeBron hater and you want to rip me a new one and explain to me all the ways that I'm stupid and wrong. I would love that. Best way to do that is to tweet me, because you have to do it in 140 characters or less. So it keeps it, nice and short and sweet and to the point. But tweet me at BDST Show, or if you prefer to use Facebook, send me a message. First, search Scotty-Ball, and then like and friend me, and we go from there. But that's all I got for you this week. It was great, as always, giving you number 69 for the first, or this is the only time we'll ever have 69 together. For the first time. Yeah, it's the only way we'll ever have 69 together for the first time. Because we can always re-listen to the show and relive it in all its glory. But anyway, thanks as always for joining. I hope you had a wonderful Father's Day weekend. I hope that this coming weekend you find yourself happy, healthy, and safe. And until next time, I'm Scotty Ball, and I am out of here. Peace!